Yeah, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Strikeout Bros. It's good, Lash.
What's going on, man? This is last week before the playoffs. So this is episode 23 for this second season of the podcast. And the title of this episode is called "Last Call for the Playoffs." Today we just found out the Dodgers are in it, the Yankees are in it, the Padres are in it. The Blue Jays and the Yankees have both clinched a playoff spot. There's just basically it's coming down to wild card teams. Mets and Reds, last spot in the
Mets,
American
Reds,
League.
Arizona. Yeah,
Yep,
it's
Mets and
getting crazy.
Arizona. Yep, and then in the American League, you got the Red Sox. They also clinched the spot, the second wild card spot. And basically now it's coming down to Cleveland and Detroit. That's gonna be one of the main topics in this episode. How fast that division flipped going into the
It flipped everywhere. Flipped everywhere.
Yeah, but no more so in the when I tell you the stats for the American League Central, you're gonna be like, "Oh my goodness, what happened?" It flipped drastically, and so anyway, going into the All Star break, Detroit, had the massive lead. They came out to a big lead. They were just winning, destroying everybody. Cleveland was just barely hanging around. Even
Yeah,
Minnesota, I think, at one point was ahead of Cleveland
yeah. They were
in
one of
the
the few to first to 60, I believe.
yeah,
Like it was crazy.
yeah. So anyway, so now they were going into September. They were looking at possibly just shooting for the wild card spot, the last wild card spot. Well, since the All Star break, the Cleveland Guardians have now gone 39-23, and in July 9th, the they were 15 and a half games behind the Detroit Tigers. So when you see that, you're like, they're not gonna. There's no way they're gonna catch the Tigers. They're just too good. The Tigers have a better pitching staff. They have good offense. And then all the reason why most people thought Cleveland wouldn't win the division is because they lost a couple of key starters due to gambling issues and so on and so on. And they're like, how can they piece this together? Because they lost their closer, they lost one of their starters who was also caught in the gambling scandal. And then in August too, they were still 12 and a half behind, and ever since, and they just been on a tear. They had I think a 10-game winning streak at one time. They're doing all this without Class A, the closer, Cade Smith, and there's some key unknown players that no one's ever heard of that have kind of sparked their run to possibly winning the division. A couple guys by the name of Kobe Aller. He's a pitcher. He's a first round pick of the Braves. He kind of bounced around, and he got drafted in 2020. He bounced around. He got hurt. He got, when he was with the Phillies, they weren't comfortable. They felt like he wasn't ready. So they sent him back to their spring training center just to, tweak him and get him better and kind of like fix his mindset. And he did two stints with the Braves, didn't work out, and ever since he's just been lights out for them. You know, and another key contributor for them is his name is Joey Cantalino. He was a plug-in starter for the Indians, and he's been he's held in his last start against the Indians. He held them to 8 scoreless innings against Kansas City. Another guy that's been doing well for them is Tanner Bybee. I'm sure you've heard of him.
Of course.
He's been really good. He's had such a stellar September that he's in the month of September he's had a ERA of less than two, 1.04 ERA in the month of
It's
September.
amazing. That's what you need in the playoffs, right there.
Yeah, and then when you think of the Guardians, you don't you only think of one big name. Jose Ramirez. He's literally carried them. He's been there. I would say he's their version of what's his name? Can't think of what's the guy's name? The catcher in Seattle.
Oh, cow. Kyle
Yeah,
Riley.
Cal Riley. He's been their version of Cal Riley. He's literally put the team on his back. Him and Bo Nail have carried the team
No,
offensively.
Seattle has a team though. Seattle has a really good team though. When you look at the lineup is really good. So
Yeah,
he's not,
and
he's hitting, but the team is stacked.
no, but it's definitely stacked. But he's been more of a contributor than what's his name, Julio Rodriguez, who everyone thought would be the main home run hitter.
Yeah,
Um, but anyway, so that's what's helped Cleveland. And then the other thing is the Tigers. They just completely fell apart. They minus Screwball and everybody.
oh
Their
well,
starting
you know what happened
pitching.
to Schoolboy? Schoolboy's out for the season.
Yeah, I heard he got hurt.
Yeah,
Which is that's their ace. It's
yeah,
being an
yeah,
Orioles fan, a Mets fan, we lost. Even the Braves. Once you lose your ace, it's hard to replace them. I don't care who you are. You can do plug and play guys, but they're not. There's a reason why they're called the ace.
yeah,
Because if there was no such thing as ace, then anyone could do it. But
yeah.
so they lost him.
By the way, the Mets just finished winning. They took the
Nice.
series from Chicago. They won 8-5. They were able to accumulate 10 runs, 8 runs, right? Mr. McLean came in 5.1, I believe, right? 11 strikeouts. They hit him. Suzuki hit 2 home runs against him. You know what I'm saying? But 11 Ks, 2 walks in
In
control
five
in
innings, that's pretty good.
5.1 innings. Yeah, like listen, he pitched his heart out, and I love it. Say, I mean, we had to score as well. It wasn't an easy, win, but listen, it pushes Arizona lost today, so it pushes them back 2 games. Yesterday, we lost. Everybody lost. Arizona, and so did Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
So now everything stayed the same. Today we go win, and Cincinnati wins, right? So we keep them at 1 game back, right? Because it's the same thing. We both won, and Arizona lost, so they go back down to 2 games. This is great. We have 3 games left in the season. We're fighting, trying to get into the playoffs. I really believe that this team can turn into something in the playoffs if we set up our rotation properly. I think McLean definitely earned a slot in the postseason. I think the Clay Holmes and the Manaya combo works as well. Maybe they can do that as well.
In the
A five
bullpen.
four. No, not in the bullpen. Like, yeah, yeah. Like they'll want to pitch 4 innings, the other want to pitch five, or vice versa.
Like
However
a
you want to
split
do it.
start.
A split start, exactly. That
You know.
worked. I saw it work the other day. I think that can actually help the team. Seeing that we have
Well,
a lot of pitching. So
here's the
what?
thing. I know we kind of got off topic, but this is good. So anyway, with Clay Holmes, he's more natural, short relief pitcher.
Yes, exactly.
Where Manai, he's just getting old. He's lost control. He's lost confidence in his stuff, and so
But
he
if you're
seems to do
asking for
better in
four
short
from
term,
each, yeah,
short
four
term
from
innings.
each. Listen,
Yeah.
four from each is not a lot, and I think they can handle it.
No, it's
Last
great
night
because
I
then you can
saw,
go to Diaz and there
yeah,
you go.
last night I was watching the Dodgers game because these games are super interesting. So first of all, Pittsburgh was winning the game, and then all of a sudden Cincinnati decides they get a inside the park home run because the ball hit the wall back there,
Yep.
and then after that they tied it, and then shit
And a
went into
home
extra
run.
innings, and I couldn't believe it. And Pittsburgh still prevailed, and they still won. I couldn't believe it. I was so happy. So I watched that game in full while I was at work. And then I came home and I watched the rest of the Dodgers game, which was incredible because they had the lead. And in the eighth inning, Arizona comes back and ties it after winning the game prior to that.
And they won
So
the bottom of the ninth.
they and
Walk off.
no, no, who the
The
Dodgers went into.
Diamondbacks.
No, they did it. Oh, in the
Oh,
first game. No, and
in the first
last
game. I'm
night,
thinking of the
yeah, in the
first
first.
game.
No, no, in the last
Okay.
night, no, they went into extras and the Dodgers prevailed.
Oh, I'm
And you
thinking
know
of
what I'm
the
saying?
first
So
game.
all 3 teams lost. So the standings stayed the same. So it was perfect
So
for
Mets
us.
lost. Nothing. It didn't hurt the Mets
Ten,
that they
no,
lost.
no, no, and we still won the series. You know what I'm saying? Which is great because that's Chicago's in the playoffs. So you know what I'm saying? If we happen to bump into them, we know McLean can handle it. You know what I'm saying? That'll be a perfect start for McLean. But I think that we have a shot. If we enter the playoffs, I think we have a shot, and then we can rejuvenate and start fresh. You know what I'm saying? It's a clean slate, and I think we can prevail. I don't. Listen.
But that's what happened last year. It's a brand new season. Playoffs, a different mindset, different, because in my opinion, I feel like, when it's such a long season, it's easy for a player just kind of like dog it, like just let's just get, especially if you know you're going to make the playoffs. It's like, oh, it's hard to play these silly games because, the team you're playing, they're not playing for anything. In this case, the Mets were playing for something. But, it's just, for actually really not really because Chicago's wrapped up the number one wild card, so they're really not playing for much. So it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? But so just trying to get down to a stretch, so the guys, but now you have a reason to try hard. So the thing is the one thing I noticed with this month for the Mets is their offense has been lackluster. It's just inconsistent, struggling to score runs, struggling to produce, and it's really frustrating. You can't have that going into, and that puts a lot of pressure on the starting pitching, puts pressure on the bullpen. That's why there's a trickle effect for everyone. That's why everyone's struggling
Definitely
because
that.
so it was a trickle effect. But that's what happened last year. The Mets got in there, but last year was different because the Mets stayed hot in the second half and
If they
carried
did,
all the way to the
very different.
NLCS.
This
This
is
is
not
gonna
the
be
same.
different because now you gotta rejuvenate yourself. You gotta pump yourself up and say, okay, new year, and it's a new season. Forget the past, start over. You remember in the ERAs get wiped away, everything gets wiped away. Well, I don't know about that, but you know what I mean. Everything is a fresh, clean slate.
Yeah, it's a clean
So
slate.
let's, and if what the Mets are hoping for is to catch lightning, catch lightning in a
Exactly.
bottle again, because that's what the playoffs is all about. You could be the hottest team, you could be Cleveland, win 10 games in a row. You go into the first round, you get swept, or you do what Toronto does every year. They get in is they get in and they fall apart, and then or things like that, or Milwaukee in the last couple of years, win the Central and then just you know do nothing in the first round, or so to me, I think it's a good thing to be a wild card team. It just because you're constantly playing, you don't have a day off. You just get back on the saddle. Okay, next guy up, and who's the okay? The rotation continues from where it left off. So if the playoffs were to start tomorrow, all right, McLean pitched today. So who pitches tomorrow? Tong. Okay, Tong goes back in. So there's
Yeah,
no
Tong
change.
Tong didn't have a good
You know,
start. He got lit up, but
but
you know
Tong's
he
had a rough September. He said, I know.
yeah,
They said his
he's not
ER
doing
went up to
well.
7, but it's okay. But it's okay. It's gonna happen because the Mets weren't expecting to have this guy come up in the middle of a pennant race. That was not what the Mets
Yeah, yeah,
planned
but look,
for.
McLean's working it out, and he's been able
McLean
to
worked,
do it.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's hard. But I understand that. But let's see what happens. Like 3 games left. We got two on Arizona. We
Miami's got
got one
nothing
on
to play for.
Cincinnati. I know, but Miami's tough though. It's a tough out. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
they're
We'll see
gonna.
what
Yeah,
happens. I'm scared. But if we make it, great. If we don't, then we know we have a lot of stuff to work on. And we gave the season away. We gave the division to the Phillies. We didn't play well. So the situation with the wild card is if Cincinnati ends up tied with us, they beat us in the series, because we played three over there.
head to
We
head.
played three head to head, right? So they beat us 4-2 in that 6 game, 6 game series. So they would automatically take that third wild card away from us. So being tied at the end of the season with that team isn't gonna work, and being tied with Arizona isn't gonna work as well because they have a better divisional record because we ended up splitting the series 3-3. So it goes to divisional record after that. And they have a better divisional record than we do. So being that that happens, we don't want to tie with them at the end of the season either. So we have to win it outright. And it's going to be
And
hard.
Cincinnati
This
has
is
to
why it's
win,
hard.
lose one game. You have to sweep the Marlins and Cincinnati. I don't know who they're playing. They have to at least lose one of those 2 games, the 3 games.
Well, no. Well, it's a one game. It's a one game. Right now it's at one. So even if we win tomorrow and they lose,
You're
right?
still ahead.
We'll be ahead by 2 games, and there'll be 2 games left to play. So it won't be over till the last day
You
of the
have to sweep.
season.
Yes.
We don't have to sweep. We don't have to sweep because what we have
No,
to
but you
do
have
is
to win
if
regard.
they
Yeah.
win, we have to win. If they lose, we're okay with losing, but we
No, but you
have
want
to
to win
break it
out.
down. Yeah, of
If you
course.
win out, then nothing. All bets are off. You get in. Doesn't matter. If you
Yeah,
lose
but to
one
win
game,
out, you have to
it's
win two
scary.
games, 2 games in a row. To
You got to
win
win
out, so
three
the
in a
last
row.
game, no, 2 games in a
It's
row.
a three
So,
game
so
series, isn't it?
the 3 game series,
Oh,
but if
two to win. Okay, yeah, yeah.
two to win the division. I mean
To
to
win
win
the
the
wild
wild card
card
slot. Yeah,
because
because
they fell
at that point
behind.
that yeah, exactly because they fall behind. If we win tomorrow and they lose, what I'm saying, or either doesn't matter. Even if we lose and they lose, what I'm saying, they have 2 days to figure it out because it's a one game.
Yeah.
But let's see, it's gonna come down to the wire, and all these games count. It's crazy. It's just like last year because remember they ended up playing a doubleheader. After the season
That's
had
right.
ended, they played by themselves. They were the only baseball team to have to play a game. And they played a doubleheader and they split it with the Braves, and
They
they
played the
both went
Braves, right?
in.
And I remember that.
They
because it was
both
a
went in.
makeup game. I was like, man,
Exactly. So all the games counted. You know what I'm saying? So this year it seems like the same thing is gonna happen. But we'll see.
yeah, well, that's that's the amazing thing about baseball. This is why in baseball it's so important to have a good lead because the Mets came out to a hot lead in the first 2 months of the season, and that's what saved them. Because when you fall, like if you have
Like
a bad month,
a bad month.
it
Shit.
if you have a bad month, that first 2 months is like your net that catches you from falling off the ledge, you know. So that's your saving grace. So that notion, like, yeah, it's okay if you don't know you, because it's harder to come back from a bad start than it is to come from a good start. Baltimore started
Yeah.
out 15-28.
Yeah.
Since
But
then
look though,
they're doing better, but it's too late. It's a day late, a dollar short. Now they're done. You know, so it does matter. Same thing with
they're not
Atlanta.
done. They're not done. They're in the
Baltimore's
second.
season's over.
Oh, it's Baltimore. I'm talking about. I thought you
Yeah,
meant Boston. I thought you said
no,
Boston.
no,
I
no,
said
no, no. Boston's fine, but
Boston. Fine.
so even with all the troubles that the Mets have had, they're going to most likely make it, which is pretty amazing. But if they don't make it, man, that's going to be one of the worst collapses. But I don't see that happening. Cincinnati is just not strong enough. They had the same issue. Started out slow. Now they're playing catch up. It's too late. They don't have the power. The Mets have a better lineup
Can't say that. You can't say that. You can't say
than
that.
the Reds too.
I know, but you can't say that because anything can happen. And the Mets haven't been
No,
playing
anything can
well.
happen.
But I hope that it works out for us. But we have a lot of stuff to talk about. Not just that. You know what I'm saying? I know you were. We were discussing the ABS all season long, and
Yep.
we have episodes on this, and we broke it down to you guys, and we were excited. And guess what? It's actually coming back now, and Losh is gonna break it
Next.
down,
Yep.
and I love it. I can't wait. Listen, man, that's another reason I copped a new show, a new edition of the show, because they implement that rule into the game. I want to see how they do it. It's gonna be fun to watch. It's gonna be exciting. No more fighting the ump about bullshit. You know what I'm saying? If you think it was a ball, then challenge it, brother. You know what I'm saying? Like, do what you have to do, but it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. None of those bullshit calls. I like it.
Yeah, none, not a game that's gonna come down to a bad call, or a ball that was clearly a ball, and the game ends and the umpire calling a strike, and it's like, and the game's over. So, it's gonna come down. That's what's gonna happen. It's gonna be a playoff game this year where a bad call from umpire is gonna end the game,
Of course,
and it's gonna set the world MLB, on
it
fire.
changes
You
everything.
know,
A back call can change shift the whole game.
Just look at Armando Galarraga years ago, the perfect game. If they had instant replay, they would have, what do you call it, challenger. They would have had he would have had the perfect game intact, but
Listen,
he didn't.
it's
So
times even
just
when
a
the
situation.
when the replay doesn't even work, man. The other day, Alvarez in the bottom of the ninth hits this shot. It's a home run. It's a live and drive, right? It goes straight to the back, and the guy, he catches it, but he used the gate to catch it. You know what I'm saying? And the replay, they looked at it and they still called it an out, and I wasn't happy with that. I feel like that was a home run. I think he used the gate. There's a lot of things that are happening out there. Like it's hard to call a perfect game in baseball. It seems like even with the replays and all the challenges and stuff, it feels like you still get these silly plays that sneak in there and fuck up the game for you. But it's okay. Especially now when you're like worried and you want everything to work out for your team, and a little mistake can cause them a series. And I'm glad we were able to prevail. I hope we can continue. We have 3 games left, and all 3 games count. Hopefully, we can knock the Miami Marlins out of the box. We're supposed to, but you know how we play these teams that are not in the race. We really play down to their level, and we suck. And let's see what happens. But we play good teams really well, so that's what the playoffs are all about, right? So let's see what happens in the playoffs. If we make it, I think we'll go for a big run. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
if you make it, you play the Dodgers, and you played them
I
well
know,
last year. So
I know. I
that's
think we
a
have a
you
shot
have
against the
their
Dodgers
number.
if we do it right. And you have to understand, like the Dodgers haven't seen McLean, and Mania came in late in the season. I'm not sure if they saw him. So he's a lefty. The Dodgers don't do well against lefties, so we can use this to our advantage. You know what I'm saying? We have to set up the rotation properly for this to work out. I think if we hit, we'll be fine. Playing in warm weather because it's gonna have to be over there. Obviously, playing in warm weather is gonna be good for us. So
Yeah,
Let's
that's a
see if
good
we can,
point because
you know,
in
it's
October it's already cold in New
yeah,
York.
exactly. So let's see how this works out for us. The playoffs are gonna start really fast and early this year.
Tuesday,
Yeah. So it's gonna be fun.
yeah, 1 day off. See, and then but the other key thing is, and I would say the biggest issue for the Mets has been all the guys they acquired in the bullpen. They have not performed whatsoever. Soto, he has an ERA of
Yeah.
9, I believe. What's his name? The guy from St. Louis, the guy from
How's the whatever.
Housley, the guy they got from Rogers from San Francisco. So all those guys they
He's been
got,
okay. He's been okay. But the thing is that
they fell
you can't
apart.
you can't blame Stearns for that because he went out. He got some really
No,
high
that's on the
caliber
players.
talent, and it's on the players. The players came over. They weren't able to succeed over here. And it's funny. The same thing with Mullins. You know what I'm saying? So we gave these guys three prospects for nothing because Mullins isn't gonna pan out. Obviously, we're not gonna sign him. He's long in the
No,
tooth, you know what I'm saying? He's older and we don't even want him, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't able to perform. I don't blame him for that. I blame the Mets a lot for that too. Because, we had him and we didn't use him. Tyrone Taylor gets hurt, so he comes in today, he gets a couple of hits, he does his thing. We're like, listen, I don't know. We have a situation in center field, we have to figure that out. We've been playing, weird baseball. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But let's talk about this ABS system and let's break it down to a science, so this way
fine
everybody
powder.
understands. Let's do this. Let's
So
break
anyway,
it down.
the ABS stands for Automatic Balls and Strike System. They currently have it running in the minor leagues. I've gone to a couple Gwinnett Braves, the AAA team of the Braves here. They do it all the time. I went to the last game the other day, just to get my last baseball fix in for the year,
That's
since the
awesome.
since the Braves are done. But anyway, they did it, and basically, as soon as the ball strike is decided by the umpire, the the hitter or the catcher. There's three people that can challenge the ball. It's either, and they're all on the field. It's either the catcher, the hitter, or the pitcher. Nobody from the dugout can challenge a balls and strike. It has to be those three guys. So
Yeah.
it's going to be in effect in 2026.
It
Um,
first came into play this year during the All-Star game. So that's when the first
yep.
official baseball game they used the ABS system for was this year's All-Star game. So
So people might be like, "Oh, the reason why I'm doing this is because the accuracy of these umpires has been god awful." Well, believe it or not, it's the accuracy rate of umpires this year has been a 94% correct. So that's pretty good. So it has nothing to do with them. It seems like it. When you see the bad calls, it's easy to pick like, "There's no way the umpires. That's the why they're doing it." But believe it or not, their accuracy's been pretty good.
yeah, but to
That's
get it
not.
closer to 100 is better. You know what I'm saying?
But if
I
you
don't
get to
want that to be a
100,
part of the problem. You know what I'm saying? I don't want that to be the reason why my team lost. I want it to be fair, you know what I'm saying, for both teams. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be good. I
exactly.
like I like it.
So two teams are gonna get. Two teams will get. Each team will get two challenges, right, for the whole game. So you gotta be smart about it. You gotta be strategic and when to use it. You just can't use it every bat. Like it's not like every batter gets two challenges per. It's
No,
like how
no,
you
but
get
if you
one
get
timeout
but
in a
if you
bat.
get it if you get it right, don't you get your
You
challenge
retain
back?
it.
You
Yeah,
retain
you
it.
retain it. You
Okay
don't
then.
lose it.
So you're going for, you're gonna call these challenges, bro. You're gonna call them.
Yeah,
If you feel like you're right, why not? You know what I'm saying? The same way, they do they do it now
like
with the replay. They want to
ex-
replay at first because they feel like they were safe. Then let's do it. Why not? If you were right, cool. If you're wrong, you lose it. But I love
exactly.
it. I love it. I love it.
So in extra innings, you only get one. Each team gets one challenge.
Gotcha.
So from the 10th inning on, that's it. One. Now, if you retain it, if you win it, you keep that challenge. It's like in football. You get one challenge, you lose it. That's it. Same thing. And then the rest is, I guess, will be decided by the umpires. If it's a big situation where the umpire can, it can be like a umpire review type of thing. Anyway, uh, it, like I said, the batter and catcher can ask for a challenge. No manager can challenge balls or strikes. The way they challenge the way they say I want to challenge it, they tap their helmet or their hat. Depends who it is. If it's the pitcher, it's the hat. If it's the batter or the catcher, the helmet. All right. The umpire will challenge it. They'll take a look. In 2025, Uh, there were about average of 4.1 challenges were used in the game. Uh, they last about 13 seconds. So the question is, how long does it take? Does it slow down the game? It wasn't really drastic slowing down of the game because baseball's trying to speed up the game, trying to make it a little more faster, just to draw more attention.
Yeah.
We live in a short span. People have a short attention span nowadays. So it took 13.8 seconds for the challenge to go through. Um, like I said, 72. So the votes that they conducted, 72% of the fans voted during spring training said that they were in favor of the challenges and that it had a positive impact on the outcome of the game. 69% of the votes wants the MLB to include ABS, and 30% of them want to remain with human umpires. So it
It's
sounds
a
like
little bit of both though, because you're
a
gonna have
little
the
bit
ump
of
there.
both.
If the ump is
Yeah,
still there, he's gonna be calling the strike. I mean, he's gonna come into a system for him because he's not gonna physically call the strike, but he's gonna call whatever the computer calls in, and then after that, if they want to challenge it, cool. But he'll still be there, and those plays at first, second, and third, they're still gonna call those plays. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
Like it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be both. You know what I'm saying? The umps need a little bit of help. Let's keep it real here. Let's not act like you know, there's not a lot of negative stuff to talk about when it comes to the umps. There's a lot of negative stuff to talk about. They're fucking up calls, and we don't appreciate it. I'm not saying it's not a hard job. I'm just saying that they need help. And
They're
this
human. They're humans. They make errors.
exactly,
You and I make errors. In our jobs. That's why we have things to assist us if we make an error. They have just like your job, you have rules and protocols in place so that when a mistake does happen, we can resolve the issue without making it bigger than it is. So same thing with this case. So in the ABS first was used in independent ball in 2019. The challenge system was first used in 22 in the Florida State League, which is like a minor league system basically, um, and also it was used in AAA in 2023 and 2024. In the minor leagues system in 2025, each team was awarded three challenges instead of two,
okay,
and 71% of the fans thought that four or fewer challenges was enough. So that's how they came down with two challenges.
gotcha. Yeah,
So
I
they
think two's
realized no
enough.
one's exceeding it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so
You
I
know.
have so many.
So
Gotcha.
yeah, if you have an unlimited amount, the game will go on forever. Because I'm like, I'm gonna challenge this player. You're gonna challenge the first pitch. It's just you'll be there all day. And
No, it's
so
true.
it
Too much.
forces players to use it to their discretion. You know what I mean? It's there to have it, but don't take advantage of it and use it in a wise situation. You know what I mean? Um, so in spring training, 2.6% of the pitchers called for challenges that were challenged by the pitcher were overturned at 52%,
Okay, then I was
and
just
then
working. It's more than
of
half.
pitches challenged by pitcher of pitches challenged by pitchers and catchers had a 54% success rate, and whereas the hitters were at a 50% success rate. So when the hitter challenged it, he was successful at 50%, and when the pitcher challenged it, they were at a 54% success rate.
Gotcha.
So it's saying that both work. So it favors both sides. It's not like,
Yeah,
oh,
of
it
course it
always
does.
goes the batter's way.
Of
Blah.
course not.
This is
That's not true.
stupid.
That's not true.
But and they're not going to create a system where it favors one person because that's the case. What's the point of having a system that only favors one side? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like the roughing the passer, the quarterback in football. Let's be honest with you, only favors the quarterback. It favors the offense. It never favors the defense. You know what I mean? Um, During the MLB, the minor league games, the overturn rate declined as the game went on. So that means that's good. So as the game went on, it went down. So that's good. Uh, from innings 1 through 3, the overturn rate was at 60%. And then from innings 4 through 6, the overturn rate went down to 51%. And then from innings 7 through 9, the overturn rate went down to the overturn rate down to 43%. So what that basically means is it basically means less players were challenging as the game went on because they just realized it's just either there's the chance of you getting it are slim. if it's a type of situation where it's like your team is the lead that's falling behind and you challenge it, the likelihood of it going in your favor is going to be slim, just because if you're far behind, things like that. So so those are some good stats. The other thing that I noticed is that they said the umpire strike zone was more in favor of pitchers at a 55.6%, and the upper strike zone was at 24.2, and the minimum off the bottom of the zone is a 24.2 was the bottom of the zone. Uh, the strike zone comparison, as far as the size from the umpires to the ABS, with a 2-2 count, was only was from umpire was 449 square inches, whereas in the ABS it was 443 inches difference from the plate difference. You know what I mean? So there's not much of a difference.
Gotcha.
So they had to measure like the difference of the balls and strikes from when the umpire called it, as far as where the ball was in the strike zone, as to what the ABS saw it. So that's good. And for those of you who watch the games, you watch. I know ESPN does. I don't know. I don't know if the regional networks do, but I know ESPN, when you watch the games on ESPN or even on Fox, they put that box up for you,
Yeah,
and
of
it
course.
and
Yeah.
they replay of where the ball was. You know, so which is good. So I'm favor of it.
Of course.
Some
Me too.
it's you're not gonna have now. It's great because you don't lose your best player because he got hot. Soto got pissed off at the wrong call, and now he's got thrown out. Or was it was Jeff McNeil a couple weeks ago. He got thrown out for a horrible pitch, in my opinion. That was outside. They called a strike. He went off, and rightfully so. And he got ejected for it, which sucked because it was early in the game, and McNeil is a key part of the Mets offense, and you lost a bat because of it. So now that's going to take away the ability for your player to get tossed, because now if it, you can't argue what the computer says. In this case, the computer is not going to lie. They're going to put the visual on. So the way that it's going to work, every stadium is going to replay the pitch on their jumbotron, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
and everyone's going to be able to see that. And so it will be just like how they do in football. When a foul happens, they can see the play if the catch was made or not. Same thing. Umpire gets it right then and there. The umpire can see it. So, because the other issue I notice nowadays too is, well, they show the replays. See, like when it comes to like a replay, like a safe, like a in the play, like as far as like if someone was safe at home type of thing. If
Hmm.
you notice, they mostly don't show. The umpires are only communicating back with the people in Secaucus. That's where the replay booth is. So they don't necessarily always show the whole play in the stadium. They do, it depends, but not as intense as it was when the umpires, in Secaucus review, the review booth. So they'll be able to see it. Everyone will be able to see it. So there's no discrepancy. They can't say, "Oh, they just said that because they're the home team." Nope. Everyone can see it. A ball's a ball. A strike's a strike. If the umpire's wrong, then the umpire's wrong, and the count gets changed.
Yeah, that's it. It's not a big
If it
deal.
was 2-1,
At
now it's
all.
1-2, vice versa. And then and it's good because now you don't have to lose your star player over some bullshit play. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's the other issue that was happening too. A lot of players this year were getting thrown out. Key players,
Managers are getting thrown out of games for that shit
managers.
too.
What was it against the Yankees early in the season in
Well,
July?
boom was getting thrown out of every other game.
Boone, but Mendoza got thrown out in that game, and it's just like, uh, things like that. So I think it's a great idea. It's you want baseball to be pure, but also you want it to be accurate. And sometimes I've noticed there's not accuracy, and for baseball it's really about accuracy. You really need that because it's do pitchers, every pitch makes a difference. It makes a break a game. You know what I mean? It
I
could take the
agree.
energy out of a game if you're in the bottom of the eighth inning and what was clearly a ball, it's a strike. Now the inning's over and you have bases, man on first and second with 2 outs. That takes away the momentum. Now you have 2 outs instead of one with man on second, and first. So it takes away the momentum. So this is good. I I like I said, I don't know if you've gone to any minor league games this year, but I know you worked
No,
some
I
of them.
haven't. Nah, I used to. I don't do them anymore.
They don't. But anyway, they're great. They're fun. Literally, it's like takes 2 seconds, and they say all over the PA. ball, and it's like an automated voice, and the umpire be like, okay, recorrects it, 2-1 count, so and so, and they move on. So I think it's great. I love it. I know the old school head baseball fans, are not gonna like it, but the baseball is trying to gear towards the newer fans. They're trying to gain new fans because with football being the dominant sport in America, you're losing fans. Baseball always say, it's so long, it's so boring, blah 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 blah. The same old stuff they always say about baseball.
So don't
Eh,
watch it.
So exactly. So
There's a
don't
thousand
watch it.
sports out there. If you don't like that one, watch something else.
But
But
for people like you and I who like baseball, we
love
love it.
baseball.
There's some things I wouldn't change, but there's some things I do like change. I like uh, I don't like the extra innings, the run on the Manfred man, whatever you want to call it on
I
second. I
mean,
don't
I
like
like
that.
it. I watched two games yesterday that incorporated the Manfred, and guess what? It made the game interesting. Especially during the playoffs, you can't use it. You know
Like
what I'm
the Reds
saying?
game yesterday.
The Gretz game yesterday and the
They
Dodger
didn't
game
guarantee you they're
yesterday.
gonna win.
It
Yeah,
was crazy. Yeah, I loved it. I love the strategies that are involved. Like you can load up the bases. You can do all different types of different strategies to like win the game. Which you have a Manfred man. Like it makes the game interesting. I like it. I like it. It speeds it up a little bit, but it changes the whole strategy of the game, which is cool. I don't. It
yeah,
doesn't
no,
bother me.
no, definitely. I think it's great. So anyway, the one thing I did want to talk about, we talked about, is Kyle Raleigh. He's been him and Judge are going to be, they are competing for the American League MVP, and they've been on fire, man. What's amazing about Kyle Raleigh is the stats he's been putting up for a catcher. He has 60 home runs so far. So I think he has 61 now. I take that back. It might be 61. So he's head of Otani and Judge by a wide margin. Um, for for the for the for catchers, he surpassed
Look at you. Look at you. Who do you pass? I know Johnny Bench is in there somewhere. Look at this guy. He's laughing. Can't find the stats. He's falling apart. Who did he pass? Look at that. He's flipping notes over here, flipping pages. Can't find it. Oh, I love it. Well, anyway, Kyle Riley up for, National League MVP. He cheated. We're not gonna talk about that if he did last week. You know what I'm saying? He's the
cheated with
DH. He's the
with the.
DHing.
Oh, you mean the home run shouldn't count if it's a DH?
Yeah, that's
If
correct. Yeah, but it's okay.
well, it's
The MLB's not gonna do that. It's just fun for the
no,
MLB. They're gonna be like, wow, this record hasn't been broken in years, blah blah blah. But yeah, it shouldn't have been broken either. But that's okay though. You know what I'm saying? Let the MLB, enjoy that one.
no, but so he surpassed Mickey Mantle for a switch hitter with 54 home runs,
Oh, he
and
finds the
he
notes. He found the notes,
and
guys.
he also passed Salvador Perez, who had 48 home runs for a
Yeah, but
catcher in
Salvador, yeah,
in
he's like
2021. Uh, it just when you think of catcher, you don't think of they're not like the guys you would look to be the main home run hitters. Um,
it
they're more known
depends. It
for the
depends.
defense
Depends what kind of
than
team you
everything
have. Yeah,
else.
it depends. But
They
yeah,
can
you're
be,
right.
yeah. And then another amazing thing about Kyle Raleigh is that he participated in the home run derby and he won it. And so they always, you ever notice that there's a trend
Yeah,
that
of
people who
course. It's not a
won the
it's
home
a
run
curse.
derby,
It's a curse.
their stats seem to go,
They
they
plummet.
dip under, they
Yeah,
plummet. But he's been the opposite. And he, in my opinion, uh, I think Judge is more valuable to the Yankees than is Cal Raleigh to Seattle. But Seattle, at least Yankees have other players that can help carry the Yankees. Whereas Seattle, Cal Raleigh has literally won more games for them. He has single-handedly won more games for Seattle than Rodriguez has or any other guy on that team
I understand
or the
that, but
pitching
they're
staff.
still stacked though. They have a really good ball club.
No, they
I
got a
was
good
watching them
lineup.
play the other day, and listen, they have a really good lineup, and I like it. I think they have a shot in the playoffs as well. It's gonna be a really fun, atmosphere, even if the Mets don't make it, And Miami's tough. Okay, let me explain something to you. In the month of September, they've beaten up on the Detroit Tigers. We spoke about the Tigers. They're falling
Yeah.
apart. So does it mean anything? They were able to sweep the
They took
Texas
advantage of a team
Rangers.
that's struggling.
Exactly. Oh, no, they did that with the Colorado Rockies too, because they swept them too. So they went
Yeah.
on a serious stretch here, right, where they won, the series against sweeping Colorado. Then they swept Texas, and then they went into a series with the Phillies, and they were able to win the first one and now. So they won 7 games in a row this month. You know what I'm saying? And they lost the series to the Phillies, but that was recent. That just happened. So now they're going into the series with the Mets. You know what I'm saying? Like they're getting better, but it's too late for them. You know what I'm saying? But still, they can cause problems. This is what I'm trying to say. It's not gonna be an easy out. It's not gonna be like let's trample over this team and let's try to stay in the playoffs. It's not gonna be that easy. No team is gonna give it up just like that, just because it's the end of the season and they're not in it because they have to worry about their own stats. You know what I'm saying?
That and some guys are playing for contracts too. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? If they
exactly,
see that you bagged it
exactly,
in, and also a lot of these guys, they're gonna be free agents. So if they want to get a contract, they're
exactly,
gonna
exactly.
other
They
teams
have to
like,
work
wait, you
hard.
bagged it in, and I don't want to sign you. You're just gonna bag it in if we lose. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, like I said, you know, the teams you can kind of tell which teams are gonna just like the last 3 days. Like for example, the Yankees they had them locked up the first walk. Now they're fighting for a division. I should take that back. But some team like Milwaukee, they've won the division. They got the first seed. They're probably gonna rest as many of their guys as they can. It's not the same as like in football.
Now,
It's
but
kind
listen,
of
you know who
hard
they're
to.
playing? They're playing Cincinnati. All right, so they have to look at it as, all right. At this point in the season, don't you feel like they have a responsibility to say to themselves, all right,
Yeah.
we really have to try to beat up on this team because who do we want in the playoffs? Do we want the Mets in the playoffs or do we want Cincinnati in the playoffs? Who's the easier team to beat? Are they playing that hand or are they playing to just destroy the team because they want to keep their stats up? You tell me. I don't know. Like, is that's the like the unheard of shit. That's the shit that you're not gonna hear about. That's not the shit because no team is gonna tell you, yeah, we tanked to Cincinnati because we prefer to play Cincinnati in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Versus the Mets. You know what I'm saying? No team is ever gonna interview like that.
No, but that's true. But also, let's be honest. For baseball, if you think about it, there, who do you? What's gonna be more sexier, having the Mets in the playoffs or the Cincinnati Reds? Let's be honest. You want to have a big market team. You want to have the Yankees in there. You want to have the Mets in there because there could be a possibility that they might have a it could be another 2001 World Series where both teams are in it. Like I'm
Yeah, it can
sorry, but
happen.
Cincinnati's not a sexy team. I'm sorry. The only people in Cincinnati are gonna like it, but if baseball wants to really grow their sport, how good is it? You have, what is it, two LA teams in the playoffs. Teams. You have a team from Canada in the playoffs. You have two New York teams. You got Boston in there. You got the Chicago. So all the major cities are represented. You know, and that's what you want. So yeah, I'm telling you, man, I don't see the Mets falling apart. There's no way. They got this far. Just there's no way. I don't see that happening.
Uh,
Um, but anything could happen. Um, I don't know. I don't see that happening. Miami, they're done. They're ready for the offseason. They're gonna go play golf, but they're gonna play you tough. Miami's been a really tough team. They play teams tough. They've had a better second half than the first half. Um, but it's like I said, for the Mets, I think they'll get in there. The question is what's going to help carry them through the playoffs? Is it going to be the pitching, the offense, or the defense? Because all three of them
we
been
need
struggling.
all three. We need all three.
And that's how to win. I always say, I was told my dad, to win the World Series, you have to have all three phases clicking. What I mean by three phases, four phases, you have to have your pitching, your starting pitching has to be on point, your
Agreed.
bullpen has to be on point, and your
Agreed.
offense has to be on point, and your
One
defense if
time.
you want to come about fourth for. And that's how the
Defense.
Yankees lost
Defense
here.
is the. I think it's one of the most important ones. I
Defense
think
wins championships. You've heard that saying
exactly.
before. Your dad told you. Look at the Yankees last year. Why they lose that World Series? Because they fumbled the ball 7 times in one inning, and it took away all the momentum. They took away, and then after that, think about it. When an inning like that in the World Series, that's devastating. You know how hard that's for a player to come back from that. I wouldn't be able to come back from that. You know what I mean? It's like, I know, I remember from my experience working as EMT, where you're trying to run and grab something in your first time and you drop the. I remember dropping the first aid bag and everyone saw me. I looked like an idiot trying to carry seven things, but you learn from it, and it's silly, but it's, and it's hard to come back. So I'm hoping for the Mets that they get a repeat of what happened last season, last postseason. They
It
went
can
to
happen.
Milwaukee and they surprised everyone because Milwaukee, once again, they were the favorite. They had the staff, they had the better offense, and Devin Williams pooped the bed, but Peter Alonso carried the Mets. Peter Alonso carried the Mets last postseason, and all you're asking for the Mets is you just need two guys out of your three main core to carry you.
That's it.
If Soto, and the big guy that you need to carry you is Soto, because he makes the most money, and if he can carry you
Now,
into a
I don't care.
postseason,
I don't care if you're not getting paid. I don't care if it's Tyrone Taylor, if he goes on a streak. I don't give a fuck who it is. As long as it happens, I'm happy with that. This team is a really good team. I
yeah,
don't care if Soto doesn't hit as long as everybody else does. If Soto wants to join us and he wants to hit too, fine. But we just need to win games. The pitching has to be excellent. The defense has to be excellent. Once those two gel, we have a shot. Okay. Because if the pitching is doing its thing, then it's going to be a low scoring ball game and we don't need a lot of runs. You know what I'm saying? Is anybody can be a hero in that baseball club. You know what I'm saying? So like,
that's true.
let's just make it and see what happens. But Miami's not gonna be easy. That's all I can say. But we're gonna be talking about this a lot in the next couple of days because we have 3 games left, and next podcast is gonna be crazy because we'll know exactly where everybody landed and who's in it, and it's gonna be a lot of fun talk. But
Yeah,
you
no,
know,
Tuesday. I always say Tuesday can't come fast enough. I'm kind of glad I'm working this weekend because
same here, bro.
Tuesday I don't work. So like for me, the weekend when I work the weekends, I usually get the first 3 days after the weekend I work off. So basically, I'm gonna have 2 days to sit on my butt and watch games or listen to them in the car, whatever it is. I'm gonna take advantage of that. Because the playoffs is a whole new world. Anyone can get hot. Anyone can make a run. Just look at a couple years ago with the Texas Rangers and the Arizona Diamondbacks. No one had them going to World Series,
Of
and they are,
course not.
everyone. Who are the favorites right now? The favorites would be the Dodgers and the Yankees.
Maybe I don't know. Things have changed.
Oh, things have changed, but you know what I mean. The people who the teams that we think are gonna make it never make it. Last year was kind of exception because Dodgers, they were in it, a couple years ago, and so you know they're the exception. But like I said, no one had the Mets making a run, and so to me that's what's always fun when the underdog team makes a run. And this year, I hate to say it, but it's a good thing. The Mets are going to be underdog, which is good because it puts less pressure on them.
I
To
mean, there's a lot of pressure on them. You know why? Because they spent so much money. This team was
oh,
supposed
that's
to
true.
supposed to prevail and
And you
already
gave up
have
a lot in the trade
qualified.
deadline.
We gave up a lot. We're not doing the right thing. So to make the playoffs is gonna be a plus for this club, being that we really shit the bed halfway through, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if we can get to like a second round, third round, then we can say, all right, this team works. We just have to tweak it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? They have to figure it out because something's wrong. But if we can go on a nice little run, then it'll be worth the money, you know what I'm saying, that they spent. Because right now, it doesn't look good. If we don't make the playoffs, they're going to say, wow, we spent the most money and couldn't make it. So what happened? There has to be a serious, Q&A.
Well, yeah. Well, it's weird because if you think about it, you look at last year's Mets and this year's Mets, they didn't really make a lot of drastic changes. You know what I mean?
They
One or two
did, though.
guys
They did,
left.
though. Yeah, but a lot of the guys
But
got, and a lot
Soto,
of guys got hurt. And then they made a lot of changes. You know what the changes were?
yeah,
They didn't, the lineup wasn't
yeah.
consistent. You know what I'm saying? That's a change that didn't work for them. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have a consistent lineup. They didn't have a 1 through 9.
They
They
kept
didn't
on
know how
changing it,
changing everything.
which is weird because then that messes up the players. And that's the same issue they had this year with their third base. Remember we ring around the posy,
Yeah,
whatever it
yeah.
is, around robin. What do you want to call it at third
Whatever
base?
it is, yeah.
Vientos.
This
Then
is
there's
why. This is
Mauricio.
why. This is
Then
why.
it's
That hurt us a lot. That hurt us a lot.
then it's Acuna. And it's like just stick with one guy, and that's why Vientos never got off, in my opinion.
No, I'm serious. That's exactly why
It
he didn't
messed
get it.
with him mentally.
Of
Just
course it
leave the
did.
guy. You should have said, "Hey, listen, Vientos, when you come back, you're gonna be the starting third baseman. Okay, Mauricio, you'll ride the bench. You'll be on the majors, but you'll ride the bench. You're the backup. You're the guy that gets the day to play when Vientos needs rest. That's what they
Yeah,
should have
but
done.
this is
Same thing.
bullshit though.
Well, it's it's annoying because you wish they had realized that before. It was, it's not too late because they were going to make the playoffs, but
Maybe, maybe.
it might have made a difference because you get comfortable as a player. With any sport, players like daily routine. They know, like, for example, Lindor. He knows he's gonna play every day. Soto,
Exactly.
he knows he's
No
gonna
matter
play
what
every day,
happens, no matter
no
if they're
matter
going to
what.
slump, no matter what happens,
Yeah, he could be 0 for 20, Soto. He's
he's
gonna
still gonna
play
play.
because you know why? He is the best player. The problem is they didn't view Vientos as the best player for third base, and he is the best player
He
for
is.
third base, in my opinion. Same thing, Alonso. Who's your best? Who's the best player to play first base? Alonso. It's not like a catcher position where you could go either way. Right now, it's been Alvarez. He's been the best catcher, but it could go either way. Same thing with center field. You didn't have a true center fielder, so you had to rotate it. Jeff McNeil. What's his name?
Who?
Um,
Who you want to talk about?
Nimmo. He's kind
He's
of went
hitting
into a slump.
lately. I know,
He's
but
gotten better,
Alvarez has been
but
hitting too.
yeah, Alvarez. Let me tell you something. The best thing they did for Alvarez was send him back to the minors because he fixed himself up, and now it's what they needed to do. That's what the Yankees should have done with Volpe, but that's a story for another day. But the point is, uh, they managed to fix Alvarez. In my opinion, that was
They
the right
did.
thing to
They did.
do. You know, Acuna, he's been okay, but he hasn't been as what they would like him to be offensively, contributing wise. But they got him more so for defense. But either way, like I said, if the Mets make it, that's all that matters. You made it, even through all the trials and tribulations. You got it. That's all that matters. You made it to the dance. And once you get in the dance, it's like the NCAA basketball. You got teams that you've never
It's-
heard of. Robert Morris will go in all the way to the final. Who's Robert or George Mason? Who's George Mason? You start looking. Well, never heard of this team. And then also it's good because it puts more eyes. More. It's gonna draw more fans to come to City Field. It's
yeah,
and it's gonna get people to buy more jersey. Oh, man, I guarantee you the Pete Alonso jersey sales went up through the roof this off season, especially once they knew that they were gonna resign him. I'm
yeah,
sure
but
that
now,
that's money.
yeah, but now this is so now you have him walking because he had an amazing year. You had
Yep.
Schwarber out there too. He had 50 home runs, so he's gonna be asking for a lot of money. Alonso's gonna be asking for some more money. So it's gonna be
Yeah.
interesting. Do we go after both or do we go after one? You know what I'm saying? Like we have to grab one. If we can't grab both, we have to grab one. If we can't grab Peter, at this point, we really have to talk to Peter. Like I don't know.
So the nice thing about the Mets is they have the ability to go after both. They're not like the Orioles where they could go either one, or the Phillies where they go either way. They have to pick one player. The Mets could do both, and that's what's dangerous about the Mets because they got the most money and they can go after anybody they want. They can, and that's what they did with Judge. Look what happened with Judge. They just blew the Yankees out of the water. The Yankees like, we're not gonna match. This is ridiculous. Same thing. So if Toronto tries to match, or whoever needs a first baseman tries to match Alonso, you know, they could be like, okay, forget it. We'll blow you this team out. Let's say Baltimore wanted to go after Alonso because Ryan Mountcastle's a free agent at the end of the year.
Yeah, I
Let's
mean
just say.
everybody's gonna
But
be
Baltimore's
interested.
not, yeah, but Baltimore's not going to be able to offer him $30 million per year. That's, for someone that's going to play, what, maybe 5 good years, maybe 4, let's be honest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Someone who's getting older. He's what, in his late 20s, early 30s?
Nah, he's 31.
Okay, so in his late 30s. In baseball years, that you're getting old. That's a lot of money. And the Orioles already made that mistake. They gave all that money to Chris Davis. You remember that contract?
Of course
They're
they
still
do.
paying the guy. He's not doing anything. Sitting home doing nothing. So that's they're not them. They're So who knows? But I think the teams that are going to go after Alonso would be contenders. Teams that are in contention.
Obviously, they're gonna really go after him. I know they will. So it's gonna
Yeah,
be interesting. I don't want him to leave now. Not after, because I feel like that's a piece that we actually need. You know,
and I don't think he wants to leave. That's his whole life. The Mets were they gave him an olive branch.
but he
They
never got
gave
the money though.
well because this is his year. They're saying okay, we'll give you this deal. We'll give you this money, but you got to prove to us you're worthy of that. But even then, he's still not going to get what he wants. He'll get close to it with the Mets than he will with any other team.
I
If
don't
he's
know.
asking for 40 million, the Mets might give him 30 million. You know what I mean? I'm just throwing numbers.
It's gonna be more than that for sure. I mean, like those numbers you're throwing out right now. I don't know what kind of
40
numbers.
million per year
I
for
don't
a first
know.
baseman.
I don't know.
You think
I
it'd
don't
be
know.
more? I don't know.
I don't
That's
know. It's gonna be
steep.
a D. It's gonna be a D. I know, but a team will pay it just to have him. Like the saying is, you pay for five, right? But you're really trying to get two out of him. You know what I'm saying? Because you feel like that's the piece you need to win a championship. You're not paying for a full five. You're just paying the five is because you outbid another team and you really wanted
And
this
you really
player.
want, just like the Soto, they gave that extra
Exactly.
year, whatever, or whatever
Exactly.
stipulations or
The
incentives
studio,
they gave.
whatever,
Like
whatever
the
it
suite, for
was. The
example. You remember
suite,
this issue?
exactly. Of
Oh,
course,
we'll
of
give you a
course.
suite. Okay, well, the
Of
Yankees aren't going to give
course.
you a suite because that's money they're going to lose out of their pocket. You know, so it sounds silly, but that's
Those
what
are
it's
the
going to come down
things.
to.
That's what it comes down to.
For Alonso, I don't think it's going to be about the years. It's more about the money. How much money can I get in a short period of time? That's what he's going to come down to. Because he's got no realistic. Okay, I'm 31 years old. What do I have? Maybe 4 good years, like good years. So that brings you to what,
Yeah, yeah,
35?
yeah,
You know what
something
I
like
mean?
that.
So the Mets guy be like, okay, can we get, because the nice thing about Alonso is that he doesn't play a position that a lot of wear and tear on the body, like center field or outfield.
Yeah. I mean, at this
And he could
point,
be
he can
DH
turn
when
it
it gets older.
exactly. Thank you. Took the words out of my mouth. A
Yeah,
DH. That's what it is for him.
and you can rotate him with DHing with Soto because Soto's going to eventually get old, and he's going to be like Stan. He can't play the outfield anymore, so now you have two guys who can rotate. But Soto's going to be around longer. You know,
So
so
those are
while
his
Soto's,
20s. You
I
know what I'm
know,
saying?
so Soto's going to be around longer. So while Soto's still playing the outfield, what's his name? Alonso's going to be your DH, and then you can, maybe you can move Alvarez. I'm just saying, or you can move, Alvarez to first if he gets older, he's having problems with his legs. I don't know what the
I don't know,
problems
but
they
yeah,
have.
yeah, but the future for the Mets is bright. That's for sure. That's one thing that we can
Yeah,
honestly say. But we
the
have to
pitching
figure
staff
out.
is amazing, man. That's one thing
Yeah,
I noticed about the Mets. They've always, in their history, they've always had great starting pitcher. It just, the
yeah.
offense has never been.
These three guys, Tom, McLean, and Spro. I like this. I
Sprout.
like this.
Yeah.
Listen, he's pitching tomorrow. Let's see what he can do for us. I'm excited. Let's see what happens. But
So let me ask you a question. Let's just do a quick. You set up the rotation if tomorrow were the 3 game series. Who would you
against the
start?
Dodgers,
Yeah.
wow, McLean first. I think because the Dodgers haven't seen him yet in the series because they played that series out before he came up. So I would go with McLean for sure, right? I would do a Clay Holmes Manaya mix, right, in a game 2 situation. And then in game 3, I would wait. I would see what Sproul does tomorrow. And if he does well, then I would throw him in a situation as well. But I would keep a short leash on him, like 2, 3 innings of good baseball. And then once I see him start to struggle, I would have my starters ready to go, because this is going to be a starter heavy rotation. I'm not going to use the bullpen as much, but I'm definitely going to be using my rotation in a different way. But it's definitely the Dodgers. We'll see what happens if we make it. And that's what I would do. McLean first for sure.
Yeah, I would put Tong last
I
just to
wouldn't
give
put
him
him
the
in at
extra.
all. I wouldn't put him in at all.
So you would do so game three would be a mixture of Manaya and Holmes.
Nah, that would be game 2.
Oh, I see. So if you're in a do or die, you would have Sprout as your do or die guy for the
No, but
last
on a
inning.
short leash though. So this way, if I need to bring Peterson in as well, because they don't do well against lefties, so I would do a Sprout, and then I would have Peterson right there ready to go just in case he can't handle it. You know what I'm saying? I would do something like that. Short
Mm.
leash.
Yeah,
But we're
yeah,
coming to
and then and
the
then and then the other thing is like you know, you need the back end of the bullpen to be on par. You know what I mean?
No,
Because you
but
have a
we don't.
solution to the starting rotation. How to fix that? The bullpen, the middle of the bullpen is where the biggest
Of
disappointment
course.
was. Let's be honest.
No, but that's where
You
we're
need
gonna
those
need
guys
that.
that you traded for to be like, okay, this is why we
Yeah,
traded you because
yeah.
you came up when we needed you. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. But we're gonna see. It's gonna be really fun to watch. But now we're coming to the part of the show where Mr. Lasha is gonna tell us who the hitter and the pitcher of the week are. Let's see what he's gonna come up with. He's going through his notes. He's going through his notes. He's going through his notes.
Yeah, I get caught up in the conversation and totally forget what I was doing.
Oh,
Anyway, the hitter of the week this week is going to be Dominic Canzone of the Seattle Mariners on September 16th versus Kansas City in the 12-5 win. He went 5 for 5, three
big
home
bat.
runs, 4 RBIs, and 4 runs. And it's funny because the gunslinger of the week is on his team as well,
You see that?
which is George Kirby against the Angels on September 14th, an 11-2 win. He went 6 innings, six in the third, 3 hits allowed, 2 earned runs, and 14 strikeouts. That's what drew me attention to have 14
That's
strikeouts,
crazy.
which is crazy. And that's the other reason why Seattle's been good. Their starting rotation is underrated. No one knows about their. See, Seattle's one of those teams that no one knows about because they play on the West Coast. Nobody watches their games. It's very late, especially if you live out here. No one's gonna. So that's a team that could put their name on the map in the postseason that no one is talking about. Everyone's talking about the Yankees, blah blah blah. Everyone's talking about the Blue Jays, blah 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 blah. Things like that. But if there's a one underdog team, that's that's definitely Seattle. And like I said, they're like the Texas Rangers a couple years ago. They got hot and they just stayed hot. Could that be them? Who knows? So I like Seattle's chances. Um, I like
With
the
that.
chances against the Yankees. To be honest with you, I think the rotation matches up with the Yankees. The rotation, the thing with the Yankees is they make a lot of errors. They're a terrible defensive team.
I
I
don't
hate
think
to
they
say
have a
it.
shot in the playoffs. So let's not even talk about those
No, their
guys. But
defense is terrible.
you
So
got some trivia for the kid, or you
yes.
can't find that in your notes. You got that? You found it?
So trivia:
Well, let me see if I can pull this off. I
how
doubt
many
this.
years did the Chicago Cubs World Series drought last?
I think it was 100 years.
You're close. So the answer is it was 106 years. That's a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time.
So from 1906 to 2016, that's a long time. The other question is this two-part question: who has the current drought of not winning the World Series? So now we know
Oh,
that
I
there's
know.
one.
It's Seattle.
No, that's a team that's never been to the
Been
World
to the World
Series.
Series.
So who has the longest drought? They've been to World Series, but they they didn't win. So
The
who has the
Pirates. The
second?
Pirates.
Nope, believe it or not, nope. I'll give you a hint. It's an American League Central team. That's all I can say.
Hmm. The Twins.
Nope. It's
I
funny
give up.
because the Twins always make the playoffs and always fall apart to
Oh
the
yeah,
Yankees, but
yeah,
that's
it's
why I
true.
could see why you guessed them.
Yeah. So who is it?
So it's the Cleveland Guardians,
Get out of here.
or formerly known as the Cleveland Indians. Said they've gone 76 years without a World Series title, which is the longest championship drought in MLB history so far.
That's crazy.
And they're like Seattle, another team. They got hot. Who knows? Maybe
You
those two
never know.
teams play
Things
each
can
other American
change.
League,
Exactly.
ALCS.
It can change.
You
Things can
know,
change.
but it's
But
crazy because like in baseball, even the two highest teams going down a stretch, they all of a sudden lose their cool. You know what I mean? So it could happen.
it could happen.
You know, you never know. But it's next week's episode is gonna be great because we'll know
A
we'll
lot
just
of good
include
talk.
playoff teams only, which will be nice.
Yeah.
So we can break it down. We'll be able to pick up the matchup. Now, Wednesday is great because there'll probably be two series that have started, one American League series and one National League. But we already know who the matchups are,
Yeah, we
and
will. It's gonna be fun as
so it
hell.
should be 4 games. Yeah, it's gonna be what four? I think they do 4 games per day. I think that's the ideal. So anyway, it's exciting. We'll know who's going to be in it. I have faith the Mets will make it just because Cincinnati is not good,
Hmm.
and Mets know they have to win. And I think they will show up.
See,
This win against Chicago was a big boost for
it
them
was, it
as far as
was.
the morale and the energy. And so it's like, okay, I know I can do this. I got this. I believe so. I think they can start a new streak, and that's what you need going into the playoffs. So anyway, we'll see. You
All right,
know,
so on the next one, brothers and sisters, we'll see what happens. Peace. Have a good night.
peace.
Bluetooth disconnected.